So this is a final gameplay demo. I would have recorded this last night, but I actually spent most of the evening in the ER getting my hand stitched up. So this is not going to be a demo gameplay, more of a highlighting of the balancing changes that were made from the alpha testing. First off, some of the move dynamics that were changed. A player no longer has to take the full roll of the dice for their movement turn. Last time we found that if they wanted to stay in range, somebody could necessarily move in a square to use all their moves. So instead of that, a player can move up to any amount rolled, and then once they attack, they can't move anymore until the retreat move. Second is for climbing the terrain. Any terrain that is of any height that is not connected to the ground is not climbable. So like I wouldn't be able to jump up from the bridge here, but say this box is 3 squares high. So any roll of 3, he would be able to climb this box even though there's no stepping up to it. So that gives players another vantage point for moving. Also, they can jump down from any terrain or climb down. If they jump down, they take damage equal to the number of squares they jumped, just to add a speed of movement element countered with taking damage. Weapon dynamics that were changed. A player can now actually carry 1 rifle and 1 pistol. Pistols are only good at a very short range, so they have the option to possibly try to stay in shorter range of a player and attack with 2 weapons. And by doing that, they risk in turn being attacked by 2 weapons and taking more damage. Or they have the option to stay further away and attack only with the long-range rifle. Also in the original rules, I had forgotten to mention line of sight, which is clearly applicable here. So for here, player is clearly in line of sight. But if the player was, say, up here, this player was down below, they don't have line of sight.
It's Mike's charger.
Right. Also, line of sight is applicable to the way the players are facing. If the players are facing away from each other, they're unable to shoot at each other. This also adds a dynamic to the movement rules, as at the end of a player's move, they may take 1 extra turn or 1 extra point of their movement roll to basically turn their character. So that also works if you didn't want to take all of your movement rolls. You can basically short yourself, turn around, and make sure you are facing the opponent. The armor dynamics themselves did not change. We all found that fairly balanced already. One thing I did want to highlight here are some of the different attack and defense dynamics based off of the wild cards. Professor noted that it could have been slightly more skill-based or some other attack dynamic rather than just dice rolling for hits. And the wild cards kind of do come into play there. One combination I wanted to highlight possibly was 2 cards, Dual Wield and Dead Aim. Dual Wield allows a person to hold a second rifle for up to 3 turns, and you must actually roll a 5 or a 6 to hit, regardless of what the actual hit rolls of the weapon are. And Dead Aim is a wild card that says your next 2 attacks automatically hit, regardless of dice rolls. So if a player was able to have both those 2 cards in combination, that would actually provide a great deal of strength in their attack. If they had a sniper rifle, they could potentially do up to 40 damage automatically without jeopardizing their rolls or jeopardizing their attack based on rolls. Another combination like that would be Double Tap, which says you can attack with both your weapons twice that turn for the next 3 turns. So having Double Tap and Dead Aim would also do similar damage. On the defensive side of that, there are several cards like that as well. Say a player was attacking me with dead aim and dual wield. I might be able to play the Reflect card, which would in turn return all the damage dealt to me to that character, which can again easily swing the tide of the game. If you are thinking you can eliminate me with a 40-point attack turn, I in turn might actually eliminate you with a 40-point attack turn. Also, there's cards like Teleport. So say you were attacking me and trying to eliminate me, I could actually teleport to any square on the board outside of your range, hence saving myself again. Or cards such as Counterattack, which is, after you have been successfully attacked, roll 1 dice for damage done to attacker. So kind of like Reflect, but not quite as damaging. I did change the armor dynamics a little bit. I put in some cards that require a little bit of choice by the player as to whether they are used or not. I put one such as Bomb Disposal Suit, which, if you've seen movies, are rather large and cumbersome suits. So it has the highest damage reduction, but also hinders movement. So players can't move as much with that, so they have to decide whether they want more damage reduction or more movement space. Also, there's a card called Power Suit, which says you deal 1 extra dice damage in addition to the gun damage, but you also take 1 extra dice damage in addition to the gun damage. So those can balance out based off how you choose to attack. That being said, overall balance for the game, I decided to keep it as the intransitive balance. No player has a distinct advantage over the other based off of character type. They all start equally, and the balance is only affected by the cards they draw. Playing a couple times, I did ensure that the balance of weapons available was not lopsided towards any category. And after hitting the weapon spawn points enough times, the players were definitely evenly matched in the weapon category. Also for weapons, I did increase the overall ammunition count of every gun just to make it so the players were encouraged to hit the orange spawn points more often. The assault rifles used to have upwards of 10 rounds of ammunition, so if a player had a good rifle, they could necessarily try to stay out of range of everybody and just try to take plunk shots at them. So by reducing the overall ammunition count, I tried to encourage more active movement around the board and keep rate of play up. Also, we did one test run with more people than just the 2 people that played last time, and if there was 5 or 6 people, having a single character each, kind of more like a first-person shooter arena game, the rate of play definitely did pick up some. That being said, those are the majority of the changes I made from the first video. And then, as requested, here is a cameo of Miley. Say hi, Miley. Why are you under the table? What are you doing? And as far as the actual board itself, like you said, I was slightly ahead of the design come the midterm. And besides possibly making different terrain textures, I think the board itself was about how I wanted it to be. So I didn't really change much for the final unveiling. That's really it though. Thank you for having the online class.